of yesteryear. And friends, we are in the date, the 19th of Elul, that is Yud Tet Elul, which is a hilula of a really great rabbi, Rabbi Chaim Benenviste Z'tl, one of the great rabbis from Turkey during the 1600s, respectively. Very interesting. He was born in the year 1603, passed away in English year 1673. So he lived around 70 years of age. He was a student of the famous Rabbi Yosef Trani, and he was a brother also of Rabbi Yoshua Benenviste. Also, let's explore some of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. He would himself become the head rabbi of the city of Izmir and also author of many great Torah books in of itself. So, as we said before, he was born in the year 1603, I believe in Istanbul, which I think was the capital of the Ottoman Empire at that stage in time. He came from very great rabbinic heritage. His father was Rabbi Yisrael Benenviste, and his grandfather happened to be Rabbi Moshe Benenviste, also another one of the great rabbis, especially who wrote many different great colossal Torah works, and was also a doctor, I believe, and was a main man of the congregation in his time period of itself. Also, I believe his oldest brother was Rabbi Yoshua Raphael Benenviste, also another great rabbi and grammarian, and also, I believe, a doctor. And he himself, his brother, was author of the Torah colossal work, the Sadeh Yeshua, which was, I think, based on the Talmud Yerushalmi, if I'm not mistaken. While he was young, he learned under the auspices of Rabbi Yosef Meterani, who happened to be another one of the great rabbis also at that stage in time. He had various different nicknames, including Hamarit, also, and was one of the great poskim, and was the son of Rabbi Moshe Meterani. These were really great rabbis, especially living in the Tzfat area. He, I believe, at one stage, he became himself a Chacham Bashi, a chief rabbi in Turkey. He also learned under Mari Samiga, who happened to be another great rabbi during that specific time period, and Rosh Yeshiva he himself was. Rav Tzemach Nervoni also, who was a very expert Torah scholar, and much can be mentioned about him, and various other great rabbanim. He had, I believe, also Rabbi Moshe Mokotzi. Also, he very much learned his teachings, I think, from the Sefer Mitzvot Gadol. Okay, so it's actually interesting. He actually would become the rabbi of an area called the Tira. This is, I think, very, very close to Izmir, and this place in itself in Turkey had also a very great, prominent Torah community. And then after that time period, he would eventually move to Izmir at the time, and he would be appointed a dayan. A dayan is a judge, and also Rosh Yeshiva, a head of the yeshiva also. And afterwards, I believe, at the time period when the rabbi of Izmir passed away, I think his name was Rabbi Yosef Iskafa, who happened to be also Rosh Yeshiva in Izmir, and one of the great rabbis of the city in of itself. He was the author of the great Torah colossal work called the Rosh Yosef. After he passed away, Rabbi Chaim Benenviste would, I believe, take his role as a rabbi of this prestigious place. That's specifically, at that point in time, there was a very flourishing and a great Torah community over there. It was a lot of different halachic renditions came towards him. A lot of people came to him for she'elot all over the vicinity, especially at that point in time. And he really dealt with different Torah categories, especially within regards to the questions of Isur V'Heta and the Dinei Mamonot, within regards to financial matters, which are very, very important to also speak about. So now let's explore some of the great Torah works he wrote, including Knesset, Agdula, Knesset Agdula. This is a very famous book which many people will have on their households in modern day. Also, this was, I think it was, as I'll describe it in Hebrew, the colossal work, Hiburo HaMefursam B'Yoteh Al HaTorah B'Beit Yosef. It was one that was expounding on the Torah, the commentaries, and the Bet Yosef, and it had the name Ba'al Knesset Agdula. What a great name it was. Then there was another book called the Ba'i Chayai, which is, I think, a sefer on she'elot and shuvot, questions and answers, on halacha, within regards to Jewish law. I think it included various different shuvot, which he actually received himself from the famous Rabbi Shmuel Daniel, who happened to be another great rabbi from the 16th century, and the author of the Torah colossal work called the Zaken Shmuel. Another great book was the Dinah Dachaye, also, which is a Peirush. It was an explanation on Sefer Mitzvot Gadol, based on the Smag, who we spoke about before, Rabbi Moshe Mokotzi. Then there was a Pesach Ma'ovin. This was dealing with different laws with regards to B'dikat Chametz, with regards to searching about Chametz, just before Pesach begins. It's a Seder on Tfilat Arvit of the first day, I believe Yom Tov Rishon, based on also the Kiddush and Havdalah, and preparation for Mitzvah and with regards to various different things also. And I think it also featured a seder, a specific tefillah, on the Haggadah of Pesach also. Then another great work was Chamra B'Chayei, which was based on Masechet Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin is obviously a tractate featured inside the Shas, inside the Talmud Bavli. Now, it's interesting enough, the famous book, the Knesset, Agdula, became one of the great paskening books, you could say, of his time. And I believe the Chida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azim, one of the great Moroccan rabbis of Jewish history, actually wrote in of itself what a great rabbi he actually was, and what a great Torah book it was in of itself. He very, very strongly recommends learning the book, and he taught, obviously, he was dealing with Isuf et Heta, financial matters, the Dinei Mamonot, and all these great things. He's actually known as a nickname Maran HaChaviv, and the Knesset Agdula, many people will refer to him naturally because that was a book he actually wrote in of itself. Included in his rabbis, which we mentioned before, was Rabbi Yosef Matarni, Rabbi Yosef Samiga, and Rabbi Tzemach Nervoni. And the great books that he actually wrote is really actually very much learned to nowadays, especially. He had apparently at that stage in time a connection, I believe, with Shabtai Tzvi, but he rejected his teachings, I believe, which was also very highly reported over, which is astounding. And just to add a few more things within regards to the great rabbi in of itself, just to go back to Shirei Knesset Agdula, this famous book, it was also halachic commentaries on the Arba Turim, and also on the Shulchan Aruch, Code of Jewish Law, which we're saying. These two commentaries are characterized by extensive analysis, as to say, of halachic sources from especially the mid-16th century to the mid-17th century, so to the time period where he was alive. Also, we mentioned the Chida just before, that he recommended that these commentaries be consulted actually prior to rendering different decisions on it in of itself. But I believe it's all the top Rosh Yeshivot, especially from the Sephardi countries, would learn it nowadays, and it's one of the famous Torah books, one of the great Torah books also from one of the great rabbis of all time. Just going back to his question and answer response, also I think Ba'ai Chayei, I think it was covered, that book itself covered the 4 sections of the Shulchan Aruch, if I'm not mistaken also. But that's a really, really great Torah colossal work, and much more has to be pointed out with regard to it. It was actually in the year 1658 when he was appointed one of the rabbis of Izmir. It was and in the year 1644 he would become the rabbi of Tita, which is another prominent area where they had the great Torah communities. Please don't forget to light candles in his memory. Yud Tet Elul. Here we are in the 19th of Elul. It's his Hilula over here, and he. Please look more into the book. I recommend everyone to get a copy of the book, also the Knesset Agdula, and wishing you a great day, friends. We've already covered in this series about a good 400 rabbis already. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and share. Wishing you all a great day.